Now to a mass shooting in Colorado Springs, the one targeting an LGBTQ nightclub. The Denver Post editorial board has penned an op-ed titled, quote, "We're looking at you, Lauren Boebert. Stop the intolerance." It accuses the Colorado Congresswoman of feeding a, quote, "narrative of hate and intolerance," and not caring where those words can lead. Boebert has been criticized for her past comments about the LGBTQ community. She's attacked inclusive classroom practices, mocked the nation's first transgender Senate-appointed official. Boebert responded to the Post editorial saying it was, quote, "disgusting to try to blame the shooting on her," and that it was, quote, "completely false to say she's attacked the LGBTQ community." Back in Colorado Springs, the suspect in that shooting, Anderson Aldrich, now being held without bond following their first court appearance. Formal charges are expected next month. CNN's Nick Watt is in Colorado Springs. And Nick, I understand you spoke to the suspect's neighbor. I wonder, did they see any signs of this? What did they say?
Well, yeah, Jim, not just a neighbor, a pretty close friend. They bonded over video games, spent hours playing games together. And one thing that this young man, Xavier Kraus, told me, he said that the suspect is not someone I would have around my gay friends. Apparently the suspect did have occasional outbursts of anger, some of them, at least one of them, directed at the gay community. The suspect used slurs to describe gay people, but also had outbursts against other races also. And, you know, Xavier Kraus is a 23-year-old young man with a job, and he said what really struck him was the kind of differences between his life and the suspect's life. Kraus lived in an apartment with his girlfriend. He has a job across the hallway. The suspect, 22 years old, similar age, lived there with his mom and their mom, and didn't appear to have any direction in life. Apparently the suspect, very smart, but very alone, few other contacts. And, you know, we saw during the appearance yesterday by video link from the jail cell behind me, you know, the suspect was slumped, slurring, bruised head, and, you know, we've now also seen the mugshots, which show just how beaten this suspect was. And so let's just take us back to that night. Remember, Rich Fierro, the Army veteran hero, took the suspect down, and then the suspect was kicked repeatedly in the head by a young naval officer, Thomas James, and a trans woman whose name we don't know. And we can see just how beaten the suspect was in that picture. Jim?
No question. Nick Watt, thanks so much.
Ahead of that hearing, attorneys for the alleged shooter submitted a court filing stating the suspect identifies as non-binary. And when asked about whether the defendant's gender identity will impact the investigation, the district attorney who's prosecuting this case said this.
In every single murder case that I've prosecuted, which have been more than I would care to talk about, I refer to every one of those as defendants, and that's what I will do in this case. And it has no impact on the way that I prosecute this case.
All right, let's bring in CNN legal analyst, criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson. We just heard from the DA who's going to prosecute this, your experiences with defense work. What do you make of this filing?
I think he's right on, right? So we'll have the actual defendant in court, and at that time, I think more charges are to come. And those charges have to reflect, Poppy, the specifics of what he did, not only as it relates to the horrific deaths that, you know, at his hands, but everyone else who was endangered, everyone else whose life will not be the same. And so the fact is that you could identify however you want. This case is going to focus on the evidence, it's going to focus on the facts, and it's going to be really predicated upon his actions.
What about in those filings, the defense team talking about, you know, non-binary? Some people think that this is a ploy to, you know, to sort of put stuff into the mix here to confuse people or to make people feel sorry for him or what have you. What do you think of that?
Good luck in doing that, right? And here's why I say that. You know, it very well could be, right? So getting back to what I said about the facts, you can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. This case is going to focus on what you did. Mm-hmm. And even if you call yourself that, people obviously have interacted with you throughout the years. Have you identified yourself as such in that way? You know, when there was a petition filed with respect to this name change, it appeared as though he identified as male then. And so the fact is that he could say whatever he wants. What did you do? And that's what I think this is going to be all about. Last point, and that's this. Remember that these charges are murder charges. The hate crime aspect of it, which there should be, right? Because you want to give voice to everyone. That just goes to establish what your motivations were. At the end of the day, it is life in jail, right? Because of the actions, if proven in a court of law, that he committed.
Right, but they'd be aggravating, right? They'd be adding.
Yes.
They'd be adding to it. So in Colorado, it's called a bias-motivated crime. As I understand it, so far, the suspect, the shooter, has not talked to police. How high is the bar to prove a hate crime if you don't have someone talking?
So interestingly enough, Poppy, they have made the bar in this jurisdiction less, and here's why I say that. In some circumstances, or at least prior to 2021 in Colorado, you had to demonstrate that it was the sole motivating factor.
The sole.
Right, the sole factor behind what you were doing. Now, it is a factor as it relates to what your activities are. So I think that bar is different. To your question, you know, it's not only about getting a defendant to talk. Many don't, right? And us defense attorneys don't like our clients to talk. But there's so many other circumstances, right, that you could evaluate. What did you target, right, that particular night? Who did you target? Why were you there? Were they celebrating something as they were on that occasion, all right, in terms of the transgender community and a remembrance night? Did you know about that? Did people, or were people who are familiar with you, did they express concerns about how you felt about members of the gay community? All of that goes into. So you don't have to talk, but I think his actions speak very loudly, even if he's not.
Joey Jackson, thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
And
Good
to you,
see
sir.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Always.
friend.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.